You have entered the Chronic's rabbit hole.
This is Storytime 20 with Mishkin and Anna from Crimson Veil.
Hey, Mishkin.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Really good. How you
Yeah.
doing?
Not too bad. Anna's going to join us. Gary can't make it tonight, and Hannah's on her way to Spain. So, just
Oh,
the
right
two of us.
on. Hey, that's
Thanks so much.
totally great. Sorry, I just cut you off there. Thanks for coming here, and that's awesome that you have. You were saying Hannah's gone right now. Gary's can't make it, but that's awesome that you and Anna are making it here.
Yeah, we're the chatty ones anyway, so it's probably for the best.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
We have an awesome interview prepared for you. Got awesome questions too.
Excellent. I can
Yeah,
see Anna's joined the.
good.
Oh, there she is.
Hello.
Anna,
Hello.
Hi.
how are you?
All good, all good. Thank you. And you?
We're doing very
Very
well.
well.
Good, good.
Well, thank
Oh,
you for making it out. And are you both in two different locations then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Belgium.
Oh, you're in Belgium.
wow.
Yeah, I've moved away from the UK last summer and went back to Belgium after like 15 years in the UK.
Wow, okay. And then Michigan, are you from Brighton, UK then right now or?
Yeah, I'm from London, but I've been in Brighton for like over 20 years now, so it's pretty much my home.
Wow.
Very cool.
It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
lovely in England. I've been there for like 3 months a long time ago. It's a lovely place. I love Europe. So, and I love what all of you are doing in Europe with music too.
great. Yeah, I love your setup, all the posters and everything. It's really
Oh,
cool.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Crimson Veil, for being here. And this is a band that started in 2024, unless are we mistaken it started before that?
So yeah, we did start in 2024, but we were in another band for like, well, I was in another band at that Anna joined 4 years before that. A band that had been going for about 17 years under
Oh,
a different
wow.
name,
Really?
called yeah, called Bird Eats Baby, which was not really metal. It was quite proggy. But that band kind of developed and got heavier and darker, and the members changed lots. And then when Anna joined, it basically became, we decided we wanted to start making like progressive metal. Gary's a
Nice.
real metalhead as well. And then basically what happened was we already released Hex under the banner of Bird Eats Baby.
Oh,
And that was when we got picked up by the record label and our now manager, Frank, in Germany. And they basically said, we love the project, but we want you to start afresh. And that's where the new name came from. So, yes, the band is Crimson Veil is only been around since 2024, but we've been building this project for like a really, really long time before
Very
that as
cool.
well.
wow. So Anna, you joined them technically 4 years ago as well. So that's a bigger connection than I even thought. And what was the reason for Crimson Veil? What was the reason for that name for the band?
We looked for a lot, like many different names. To be fair, a lot of great names are already taken. This is
Yes.
like, I feel like the further we go, the harder it's gonna be to find a cool name. But I mean, we liked the some of the words, crimson. And obviously crimson. This King Crimson, referring to a great prog band we all love.
Yeah.
And then veil was also to get this kind of feminine side of things and feminine twist. So I can't remember who put those two words together, but I think we had some ideas with veil and some ideas with crimson, and then eventually we
Ooh,
put them together, and we thought it was a great image of, and it represented the vibe of the band quite well.
I love it.
we agree. The name is so catchy. It's good to know how you originated from. And what was the name of the band before Crimson Veil, so I can remember?
It was called Bird Eats Baby.
Bird Eats Baby.
Yeah.
That's cool. Because I know
Very.
how cool and weird you guys are, so that's just such a cool, weird name.
Yeah. If you
That
go and
gives
check out the band, it's pretty weird. Like there's a lot of really weird music, a lot of really weird videos. It was a weird band with like a weird following. So we're still weird, but now probably just a bit more like got a name that probably makes a bit more sense.
Right. Well, that's really cool. So you're a dark alternative metal band from Brighton, UK, at least originally. And the chief idiot, Mishkin Fitzgerald, is the vocalist. And I just wanted to ask how your virgin bath was today.
Oh, it was great. Thank you. Yeah, do you see my skin is looking
Looking
so
nice and
clear?
great.
supple and beautiful.
Blood. Yeah, it was great. Every day, I swear by it. It's just a cure for old age.
I have a question, like, how do you find them fresh?
Well, I just do like this kind of magic calling spell, and then they just arrive at my door really confused, and I just lure them in, and
Perfect.
the rest is just easy. Just, that's all
Now I
good.
Perfect.
know.
Like the
Yeah.
candy house in the forest. They're just like coming in and for the sweet stuff. And
That's
you're
a
like,
bit too
hey,
much
yes.
effort, the
Oh,
candy
okay.
house. It'd take a lot, and I'd probably just eat all the candy first, which would be a problem. So instead, just bring them to my house in Brighton. Yeah.
Perfect.
And the other two members that aren't here is Gary, who does the guitars. Hannah, the Baroness Piranha, does the strings for you guys. And then Anna Miley here on drums. Your drumming really captured me on every
Yes.
single song that I have seen. So I wanted to give you an awesome shout out there, Anna, as
Thank you
well.
very much.
And we want to ask both of you, maybe Anna, you can start. What got you into becoming a drummer? And for you, Mishkin, what got you into vocals?
So I think initially I started with playing the guitar.
Oh, okay.
So I started with the guitar and I found it profoundly boring.
Wow.
But so I said like, no, I love music, but a guitar is not the thing. And then I saw some videos of Nirvana playing live, and I saw Dave Grohl on drums, just having
Mhm.
the craziest time ever.
Wow.
And I said,
Okay.
no, this is this. Like that guy is having fun. I want to hit the drums. I asked for months and months. Eventually, my dad just kind of got me a kit. It was sad that it was not the guitar, but he accepted it over time.
Wow.
And then as I got my first drum kit for my birthday, he said, practice, so I'll sell it.
Perfect. I
And
get that.
he did not sell it.
That's incredible how many artists we have heard that have tried to start with a different instrument that then has been led into the instrument that they're on now. That's actually happened a lot more than many people realize. So that's really cool. You
Mhm.
captured drums because I love your style, and Dave Grohl is a drummer that I can see your style almost looks like his.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Dave Grohl would say it's the reason why I picked up the drums, but then that kind of stopped there, and it didn't quite influence my playing afterwards.
Okay.
Many other players did, and obviously changed over time massively. Currently, like I would say, is definitely Gavin Harrison and Danny Carey and
Right.
all of these proggier players.
Yeah.
Very
But Dave
cool.
Grohl, I would say, was more like I was into grunge music when I started playing music,
Mhm.
but that kind of evolved quite quickly.
Right on then.
Very cool.
And how about you, Michigan?
I actually started singing in church when I was a kid. Would you believe it? So, nearly
I
all my
do.
musical, yeah, yeah, nearly all my musical training came from singing in a church. It was quite a multicultural church, so there was like lots of different types of music, which was really fortunate. We would have like traditional hymns, and then there was like a more modern group of people playing, and then there was like a gospel choir as well from Nigeria, and just like all of
Very
these
cool.
really different, but a lot of it was all singing based. And for me, that was really what I enjoyed about the church was just the music. So I had that, and then I moved from that to starting to play the piano and the guitar. My mum had a guitar and a
Oh,
piano
wow.
at home. We were really lucky. So I just started kind of messing around on that and then playing with the other kids at church and making music and writing it. And I think I started my first band when I was like 13 or something.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
like,
Very
geez,
cool.
it was really embarrassing, but you know, then just quickly discovered rock music outside of the church, and that became a real obsession. And the first singer that I really became obsessed with was Matthew Bellamy from Muse. I thought
Oh,
his range
wow.
was incredible, and the way he would sing like classical music but fused with really heavy rock.
Well said.
Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, I've just been singing for years in lots of different bands and lots of different styles, but I really got into doing the metal during the pandemic. I'd never done screaming before
Oh,
then.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'd always really wanted to, but I didn't think it was possible. But in the pandemic, I was doing some research and I found this incredible teacher and she just was able to like unlock it. And then I spent most of the pandemic practicing metal vocals. And then when we came out of that, I was like, okay, I'm ready to make a metal album. And that's when we, you know, started Crimson
Cool.
Veil. So, but I'm relatively new to the metal sort of vocal world. But yeah, now I just really love singers. I love Randy Blythe. And I love the two vocalists that are in Igor. They've got an incredible
Oh, I
range.
love Igor.
Yeah,
Love
it's like one of my favorite bands. But yeah, that's how I got into it.
That's awesome. I have a question about your screaming vocals because you're just since COVID, which wasn't, oh God, that was only 4 years ago. So what is one of the biggest challenges when it came to learning that distortion in your voice coming from someone who was more like choir chamber style singing versus screaming?
Yeah, I found it really difficult to be honest. The fry technique is the thing that I really struggled with and would still say that that is the most challenging thing about doing it live. I don't do a lot of fry technique live. I do it in the studio because I'm able to
Hmm.
control it. But if the when you're singing, especially in Crimson Veil, the vocal parts are incredibly challenging. You're swinging between like really high
Yeah.
parts, loads of really
Yeah.
strong vocals, then there's some death growls. So mixing it all together is the real challenge, jumping between these kind of things. But I would just say that the hardest thing I've ever done with my vocal cords is learn how to do fry vocals. The death growls, which is otherwise known as false chord, which are like the deeper guttural ones you can hear all
Mm.
over the album. Those
Hmm.
are the ones that I found a lot easier because it's a much more relaxed technique. I didn't quite realize it sounds really harsh, but really all you're doing is just opening up your lungs and pushing more air out, which I found quite easy as a singer who's got good breath work.
Yeah.
So I found that actually
Incredible.
really easy and really fun. Like screaming is so much fun. So yeah, I really enjoy it. But your voice gets really tired, especially on tour. I have to make sure that I don't talk too much, and I love talking.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's basically just trying to find the rest space and not overusing your voice. But yeah, definitely the fry is like so hard. I have so much respect for people who just do fry vocals in their songs. I just like how are you doing that? It's amazing. I hope one day I can do like a whole song in fry, but I'm not quite there yet.
And now you can do Ghost of Perdition and Opeth covers, and you're fine.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, his
Oh,
stuff is all false chords, so it's a lot easier
good
than
to
the
know.
compression, you know.
Yeah.
So I found, yeah, doing the much deeper guttural ones, weirdly, was so much easier than the sort of higher, distorted, static screams.
Yeah,
Wow.
that makes sense. And I'm not a singer, but I'm just thinking about how you're explaining it. That does make sense because if you're doing the higher friar style, you're putting so much more tension on your vocal cords. So it's going to cause like that. I think that would be where you'd cause more damage if you do it incorrectly than with the guttural ones.
Yeah, and it's just exhausting. Your vocal folds
Mhm.
are essentially just compressing together with a huge amount of tension, and all they want to do
Mhm.
is just open and keep opening. So it's something that you have to build, you have to change the muscles, and there's a lot of exercises that go with that. It was not something that came easily at all.
Yeah.
I'm glad it came because we definitely love the progressive metal, kind of darker twist to our music, and that's what I think brought us towards you guys. So we're very thankful. And we noticed there's not many interviews with you guys, and I couldn't even find a Wikipedia. So part of our goal for this interview is to let everyone know your genesis and the kind of history to why we're here and why we're doing this interview and why you mean so much to us as well.
Yeah, that's great. Sorry, I just have to
Thank
let my
you.
cat in. I can just hear her ripping up the
Of
carpet
course,
outside.
we love kitties.
Our cat does the same thing to our house.
Yeah, she's very social.
Aw.
Anyway,
Do
yes.
you have
Sorry.
cats too,
She's the
Anna?
mascot.
She's a
Yeah,
Sorry?
mascot.
yeah. Come on then. I'm coming
Yeah,
up to say hello. Yeah.
Grubbins
Here
is the
she is.
mascot. Yeah, she's awesome. We love
Aw,
her.
Oh, there she is.
we
She's like
love
the most
cats.
confusing cat in the world. She's got a really funny face. Anyway.
Aw. So yeah, so the what we want to talk about right now is your debut album, Hex, which came through Raining Phoenix Music on September 20th. You also had a vinyl edition that was released this year, January 10th. I know how much you were excited for that vinyl release as well. It looks gorgeous. You have 9 tracks on it with Hex, Ribbons, Flinch, Shift, Illuminate, Opulence, Joyless, Awake, and Task. What I've noticed is there's not much talked about Opulence and Joyless on the internet, and I was hoping that maybe Anna could start by explaining what Opulence and or Joyless means to you and what the song's difficulties were to make it.
Right. Joyless is an interesting one because I think we kind of started writing it because we wanted a song in 7/8. So we
Oh,
just
Okay.
kind of it started with the time signature, which is a bit weird. So we got a cool groove in 7/8 and we built everything around it, and it turned out to be such a catchy tune.
yes.
It's we kind of forgot about it, and then we practiced it for the last gig we played, and we noticed like, wow, okay, this is actually really fun to play. So I just can't wait to play on tour now, which is coming up.
Yeah.
Opulence, on the other hand, is like it turned out to be one of the trickiest songs on drums from the whole album. And
Wow.
I'd say even trickier than Hex, which is already mad.
Yes.
Hmm.
And maybe it's just there's also a lot of time signature changes, and the form is a bit odd, and then the end is very intense, and I'm not playing the same time signature as the rest of the band, so I'm just playing my
Yeah.
own
That's
thing, and
difficult.
then yeah, so basically they can't listen to me and I can't really listen to them. So it's probably one of my favorite for that reason. It turned out to be like one of my new favorite. But then, every time you talk about a song, it just becomes your new favorite. That's the way it goes. So yeah, I'd say Opulence is definitely a shame that we couldn't make a music video for it because it's such a cool track and one of my favorite of the album for sure.
Right on. Thank you then. I got another question then. I think this will go to Mishkin. I want to actually know if this is true for you. Do you believe in hexes?
I believe in the power of people believing in hexes, if you know what I mean. Like
I
there's
know
this
exactly what you mean.
Almost
weird,
placebo in a way?
yeah, totally. I mean, there is like an actual thing where, and they've proven this, that if there's like a village or something and somebody says this person's cursed, that person then believes themselves to be cursed, and then bad things happen to them because of their beliefs.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
no, I don't believe in hexes really. But I do believe that if you believe that you're hexed, then you can kind of curse yourself and bad things can happen through just the power of you thinking that you're hexed.
Right. Yeah,
The
yeah.
belief in the
So
power of words.
yes, exactly, exactly. I mean, I'm definitely a witch, and I love, I'm really into to Wicca and witchcraft, but I would never work with that kind of magic or even
Yeah.
think something that should be, used. But yeah, I definitely think that if you believe in anything, then it's true for you, isn't it? So,
Very
yeah.
true.
Absolutely.
And because that was one of my other questions, of what defines or is your definition of what a witch is as well, because you're a self-proclaimed witch.
I think a witch is just an independent woman, you know,
Nice.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Old
You
school
know,
terminology.
yeah, I mean, the original witches were just women who had knowledge and were,
Wow. Yep.
wiped out by the Catholic Church essentially because of their fear of women having knowledge. So I think that a witch is just a woman who is independent, has knowledge, and uses that knowledge to help themselves and others, whether that's through herbalism or some kind
Right.
of meditation or um,
Stonework, etc.
yeah, yeah, and anything really. That's what I think a witch is, you know.
I love
It's,
that.
it's
Beautiful.
it's been made into a pretty dirty word, witches are meant to be green and ugly and fly like at night. It's just really stupid. But like the original term of a witch would actually be like, I think the original witches, most of them were midwives anyway, the ones that were
Yes.
burned at the stake. They were all just helping other women have babies and you know,
Right.
Yeah.
that wasn't good. So they just got turned into witches. So
It's
yeah.
really funny that you bring up midwives because just a little tidbit about Canada is actually midwives were illegal in Canada until like the 90s. So like everything had to go through hospitals because of that whole connection with witches and things like that.
It's crazy,
So
right?
it's
Like
crazy.
how
It's
far
enlightening
backwards
for
it
me to hear.
goes. Yeah, it's crazy. Like if you go back far enough, you can see that the term witch was just a word that was, used to wipe out women. It's really bad. I've
Yeah.
Well,
studied
amazing
it a
because
lot. Something that really fascinates me. There's a great book if you want to read into it. It's called In Defense of Witches and Why Women Are Still on Trial Today. That book completely blew my mind, and it really influenced me to learn as much as I could about like the original witches.
I love that. I'll definitely add that to my to be read list, which is growing every day. And just to add to that, so like with your explanation of what it means to be a witch to you, another thing when I was looking up Googling what your band style was, they had brought up like shamanistic metal. How does would you say that within your like witchiness that you are any kind of like shamanistic practices or anything like that?
I think that when you create music, you are essentially channeling something that wasn't there before. You've
Mhm.
created something out of your mind or something that wasn't there before. And if that music then moves somebody and changes their consciousness or
Mhm.
changes their emotions or their feelings or it moves them in a certain way, then I think that is a kind of shamanistic practice. Music can be really healing
Absolutely.
for
yeah.
a lot of people. For me, music is therapy. I've always done it to express things that I couldn't express in any other way. And the more music that I make and the more people that it connects me to, the more I realize it's just this incredible tool to help connect humans together. So I think it is shamanistic, even though I didn't really know that for many years, but I guess that's true.
According to Google AI, that's what they defined it as. So I thought that was something really cool to bring up.
On the song Ribbons, you're going through the experience with Shibari. And I was hoping, Anna, you could elaborate what that experience was like in the music video because it was so visually stunning. And I couldn't tell if it was like torturous or if it was like pleasurable or any of that. Like it was just very intriguing. Could you elaborate as to the song meaning of Ribbons as to why you used Shibari to portray it?
I mean, Mish might be a better person to reply to this one, but I'll just
Okay,
explain my side of the story before that because it's quite a funny story. Um,
good.
yeah. So when I arrived for the music video, I knew the location, I knew the date, and I knew roughly what I had to wear, which is not much, but that's about it. That's literally all I knew. And then I
Oh,
arrived and said,
wow.
yes, so we'll tie you up and we'll put you on a chair, and it's going to be very awkward. And it's going to be a little bit painful. And oh, by the way, yeah, this is happening. It's like, okay, cool. Thanks, Mitch. So now I know why they probably thought I was not going to show up. But anyway, it happened. It was very awkward because that chair, I felt like I was going to just fall.
Wow.
So it was, I wouldn't say painful as such, but awkward and tiring. As for the concept and the suffering, I would say that Mish is a better person to answer to that side of the question.
Perfect
Weren't you
then.
really ill
Perfect.
that day as well, Anna? I seem to recall you arrived and you were like, I've been really ill. And I was like, cool. Can you take off all your clothes and we'll tie you up? Like, and Anna wasn't like, I feel like there were so many things with the band early on that I was like, oh my God, like, I'm sure Anna is going to leave the band. Do you know what I mean? Because there were so many things
Yeah.
that like we asked her to do, and there's so many things that happened. Like, oh my God, you don't even know the half of what Anna had to go through in Hex. Um, like
We
all
want
this
to
Oh, I
know
know
though.
it's true.
yeah, she was an absolute trooper, and I was just like, I kept just thinking, eventually she's just going to turn around and be like, nah, I'm just done. I just want to play the drums. Can you just fuck off. But she did
You
all of
have
them, so I know
definitely,
she's a lifer.
yeah, you've definitely tested me over the years. Yeah.
I
Thank you for
I
that.
love that. I love those fun stories, especially when you're kind of surprised in the moment with those fun stories because it really adds such a greater experience to that event and really like solidifies it as one of those like permanent memories that like 20 years from now you'll be like, hey, remember that time when Anna was in the tree in the chair?
Yeah.
So
There are many bonding experiences we've had, like 100%.
Literally.
And
literally
Literally
bonding.
bonding. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. So I have a question about Hex, and I was wondering because Hex has 9 different time signatures you guys had put with the drums or throughout the whole song on that one. How well was Hex received as a concept by the rest of the band when you brought up that it was going to have the 9 different time signatures, and what challenges arose from that?
You want to take that one, Anna?
yeah, I think so. I remember the day you came to my place. It was like during 2020, like one between some of the lockdowns, and you just came to my place and say, "Oh, I've got this concept, and I want each part of the song to be representing a number." And I said, "Well,
Mm,
that number can either be the time signature, but it can also be a polyrhythm, a groupment of notes."
right.
Within one odd time signature. We didn't necessarily aim to have 9 time signatures, or actually, I just didn't know how many they were, to be fair. I never really counted. Um, but so each part though had to represent that number. And so in my mind, as I was writing the drum parts for the song to fill in the whole form, I was visualizing each part as being one number. And then that's the reason why it starts with just a one hit. It's one, and then after that it's because it's in quintuplets. I play
Mm,
a group of 2 quintuplets, so it's like a
wow.
weird like I would say metric modulation, as we call it, that is based around two quintuplets, and then after that it moves it on to like this thing that represents 3 and then 4, and so on, and it goes moves up and up and up. And so sometimes it's a time signature, sometimes it's not. The rest of the band just went with it. They're just as weird as we are. I'd say we don't really focus so much on the actual time signature we're playing. We're just like, does it sound cool? Then yes,
That's
let's go for
fair.
it. Does it not sound cool? Like maybe we are a little bit over the top. But yeah, I
Absolutely.
think that's the general vibe around that form.
Very cool. I really like that because when you're playing, then the biggest thing that I've really taken from this is you all talk about just wanting to play and have fun, and you play your instruments because you enjoy and have fun. So it's really interesting for me that you had said you didn't even really know how many time signatures were in the song itself because you just wanted to create something that really came from your soul as like a whole band together and then followed the concept that you had going off the start, which I think is like the best way to create music because then the music is also writing itself in a way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's very easy for the ego to take to
Yeah,
to take the upper part of the songwriting part. And I think that's just the wrong way to go. Like music is it should not be for the ego, it should be for the soul. So
Yeah,
if
exactly.
if it sounds good, then go for it. And if it's technical, then well, practice. But you
Yeah,
have to practice your technique in order to serve the song, and not try to incorporate technique for the show off within a song and it doesn't
right.
have its
mhm.
place there. Because then, I mean, that's the kind of music I don't really enjoy, and I don't see the point of it. It just, you
Too
can hear the
commercialized.
ego. That's kind of how I saw it.
I completely agree with that. You had another song. So I really loved Hex, by the way. I listened to your whole album twice yesterday, and I love Hex. I thought it was a great way to start the album. I really loved Opulence as well, was another one of my favorites on the album. But the third song that I really loved was the song Awake. It is absolutely beautiful. It's very somber in a way of how it is playing out. And you guys had mentioned in a previous interview that you attribute the song to the emotion of surrendering or surrendering yourself and to the element of water because it's very fluid. So I was wondering, in the birth of this song, what experiences of surrender or going with the flow helped bring the song to life on a musical and lyrical standpoint?
I think kind of going back to what Anna said about serving the song, when we start a song, we've kind of got a bit of a maybe a technical idea, maybe there's a time signature or a groove, or for me, it's a chord progression. And
Hmm.
then like with Hex, we were like, okay, we'll have 9 different sections. But then as the song kind of grew and evolved, it was more like then the song kind of takes over what needs to happen, and you just have to write what comes out that, like Anna said, is going to be really, really good and just make people go like, nod their heads and just feel the song. And I feel like that definitely happened with Awake. Like I just had this chord progression that I was really obsessed with. That's usually how I start to write. As I write on the piano, and all of those arpeggios were written initially on piano.
Wow.
And
Very cool.
I've written a lot of water-based songs. I think it's an element of me that comes back time and time again in my writing. I don't really know why, but I've got I've got loads and loads of songs from previous bands and in Hex that are water-based for me. So I hope I'm answering the question correctly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the song kind of grew and grew, and I knew I wanted it to have this kind of taking over, so that the end of the song becomes so kind of intense and disturbing that you almost feel like it's dragging you under.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so we had these beautiful sections, and then it kind of gets really, really heavy. And we had the death growls, and Anna had this idea to do this drum section to connect the two parts where there's a different time signature that comes in. And I remember being like, oh, I'm not sure, this is a bit, off. And then, as always with the band, we're always like, okay, let's just go with the idea, like someone knows what to do. And that section happened, and it was just perfect, and then it explodes into that second really, really heavy section, and then it just ends with this vortex kind of
Mhm.
synthesizer pattern that I tabbed out. All of those synths are all like written one note at a time on MIDI roll, which is
Wow.
like my
Wow.
favorite thing to do. So it's not just an arpeggiator, the whole thing is tabbed out and then cut up and then done again and again, and then the chords are changed. So that whole thing is took a really long time.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just got this really, really intense kind of flowing thing. And I think that's the surrender of the song, is that, you kind of just get sucked into it. I feel like that happens to quite a lot of our songs, that you start off kind of going, okay, this is quite nice, this is quite pleasant. And then by the end of it,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, will it just stop?
It's so impactful though, and like that surrendering feel. Sometimes life comes onto you where you need to take the waves, and sometimes you want to push them away. But I know for us recently, we've had to kind of surrender more to heal, to grow and move forward. So I think it's a very healing song, a shamanistic type of song that gets you really moving
Mhm.
correctly. And with all these complex songs, you all must be very good at musical theory to be able to blend all this together, even just how you guys are talking about the music. It's even past some of our knowledge on what some of the terminology is, but that's also to show that's why all this good music's coming out. And you have a tour coming in Europe, which is looking really exciting. It starts April 23rd to June 6th, and there's 32 shows in a month and a half.
Oh my God, is that true? Shit.
Yeah.
That's what I saw, so I hope that is true.
That's what
'Cause-
the internet told us, and as we know, the internet never lies.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, amazing.
and the one thing I wanted to make sure we know a band named Combi Christ on the channel, and you're performing with Combi Christ. Is that for the whole tour, or is that only the 2 dates?
We're doing most of the tour with Combi Christ. We're opening a
Nice.
few shows, headlining. We
Very
thought it was a
cool.
good idea to get warmed up and also just play a few extra shows, because we were setting up a new live rig and a new sound system and everything. So we were like going to do a few shows, and then we'll jump on the Combi Christ tour, and then the whole tour finishes in with Wave Gothic Treffen in Leipzig, which is a very well-known Gothic music festival.
Cool.
Very cool. Oh, that's so cool.
It is amazing. And we wanted to mention something too, because now that you're touring, Hannah on a different interview mentioned that Tool and Opeth would be her dream bands to tour with. What would be some of your dream bands to tour with? And that's for both of you.
For me, obviously, Tool is Tool and Opeth are definitely, they're shared
Nice.
by everyone in the band, by the way.
Yeah.
But on top of those, I would say probably Porcupine Tree.
Nice.
I am a huge fan of Steven Wilson and Gavin Harrison, and I love everything they do in all of their projects. So Porcupine Tree is the one that joined them together.
Yeah,
So that would be a very exciting one for me.
For me, it's definitely Igor.
Yeah.
big
Like
time.
absolutely, yeah, obsessed with Igor. They're probably one of my favorite bands, and I love a band that does like lots of genres, and it's just really weird and doesn't really fit into one sphere. Like they cross metal and then so many other genres. So
So
for me,
many.
I want to tour with bands like that. Highland would be another one that I'd
Oh,
absolutely talk about shamanistic music.
I
They're just
love both those bands.
great. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I saw Highland and I was so completely like melted by the whole experience, and that really inspired me to make our live show with Crimson Veil a lot more
Oh,
theatrical and ritualistic. I thought, wow, that's a band that's actually doing it, and they're kind of incorporating ritual magic, which is something that I love anyway. So it was like
yeah.
felt natural to do it with our band, and it seemed to match the music. So yeah, any band that does that, I would say Igor Gojira as well. Absolutely love them. Think they're like monsters.
They are monsters.
Yeah.
It's amazing, yeah. And just for the whole like music theory, math rock kind of thing that they do with all of their
Mhm.
polyrhythms, time signatures, they're just so great. So yeah, those would be my top three.
Lovely picks.
Love those picks.
Something I want to thank you all for is we love when bands appreciate what we're trying to do for them, and you shouted us out, and we just wanted to give you the thank you for that too. It means a lot to us when we started this channel. Part of it was to reach bands that are just starting or the bands that we have liked. So it's really amazing that you guys see what we're trying to do too.
So thank you so much.
Oh, it's great. I mean, you guys really do your research. That's what I really appreciated about the whole thing. You really, really listen to you're not just making a channel and kind of not listening and,
Like,
just
oh,
kind of
great song.
reading the press release. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You really, really look into the bands and you really get into the music, and that's quite rare, I think. So thank you for taking the time to really, check us out.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
You're
And
welcome.
on topic of us, we're from Canada, so I wanted to ask a question. How do we get you to Canada? Other than just sending you email for a request, is there certain requirements you guys are looking for when going to a new place?
I mean, it's basically where we're able to tour with terms of probably jumping on another band's tour. I mean,
Right.
we toured America with Bird Eats Baby a few times.
Oh,
We
okay.
never been to Canada, but I mean, we would love to come there. Of course we would. It's more just a case of, really budgeting for tours. It's so
Mhm.
expensive
Right.
to tour, even in Europe. It costs a lot of money. So I think we need to build up the band a little bit more, become super famous. You're helping us with that, so that's great.
Let's keep
But
it
yeah,
moving then.
yeah, yeah. But I'm sure we will make it out to Canada at some point. We would love that.
Amazing then.
Absolutely. Amazing. I'd love for you guys to come to Canada because I want to see you guys play live. I'm really excited. Again, I mentioned I had listened to your album yesterday multiple times, and something that I really loved about it is how much creativity it induces into the listener because of the amount of creativity you've put into the album itself. All the way through from start to finish, you really get that spiral feel of that kind of going down a rabbit hole kind of feel of that vortex. But then by the end of the album, you just instantly want to listen to it again. So it's like perfect bookends, but then that bring you back into that perfect like vortex a second time. So I really love the way you designed that and put it all together. And I think a lot of people have really loved the way you've designed it as well because you have a ton of awards that you have already won sent it from Prague Space 2024. You got the fifth place with 10.75% of for the performance of the year non-traditional rock instruments. And with Femme Metal Awards in 2024, you guys got the first place in Breakthrough Act and fourth in Best Released Artwork and fifth in the top 25 bands for a year-long advertising on their site for Femme Metal.
Big time.
So big time nominations. You even got an award there already with your debut with the Crimson Veil. Question that I have is, what does it feel like to be nominated and even winning awards already with just being released for a year here?
I mean, it is definitely exciting, and unexpected,
And
totally
unexpected.
unexpected.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. Usually I would expect two or three albums to be released before people really get it, and to have people already on board from the industry supporting us, noticing us, and nominating us. Just that alone is really, really cool, and we're very grateful for it. But then it's even more rewarding and encouraging to see that people are getting it, and so we
Yeah,
should
Yeah.
just keep on being weird and just
please
keep doing
do.
what we do, you know.
Be yourselves. It's
We love
working.
weird. We love weird, good music. And I think you guys are just so authentic. And I think that's what everyone sees in here.
Well, thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only going to get weirder, you know.
Yes,
Perfect.
definitely.
As you say that it's only going to get weirder, what are your 2025 goals?
Well, we
Really.
started the year with a trip to Anna's in Belgium, where she has this venue. We had a whole venue to ourselves to write, and we had the drum kit set up and the piano
Wow.
and
Ooh,
Hannah's cello and violin and a guitar and everything. And we basically wrote how many songs is it? 11, 12?
Wow.
really?
I can't remember how many
I
songs.
think it was 11. Yeah, 11, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, it depends. Yeah, something like 11 songs. Definitely more than
Incredible.
Wow,
last one.
incredible.
Even
Yeah,
bigger.
so we sort of had ideas, but then we put them all together. So we've basically laid down the structure for a new album that's just even weirder than the first one, more developed. Some yeah, it's going to be really fun. And then we've booked in August to then record all of the parts at a studio in Kettering in England. So basically our goals is to try and we're going to tour as much as we possibly can, try and get the name out there, get Hex
Yeah.
out there,
Mhm.
start playing this new material live, and then try and finish the year with a new album, maybe have a single out. I would love to make a music video for Opulence, so I'm kind of praying for just a magic amount of money
Oh,
to land in my lap to make the video that we have a vision for.
Envision 2?
Yeah.
Cool.
Of course, it's insane, so it's going to cost money. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, that's our aim for 2025, and we're just really, really happy that we have a tour on the horizon and that we're really supported by our label and management. We're a really, really lucky band to have all that so early
Mhm.
on in a band. I know we're not like new, but the band is new, and already we're you know doing as well as we could have ever expected. So yeah, it's just
And working with lovely people as well. Like we were just supported with really, really lovely human beings. So
That keeps
Yeah.
you
that's important.
moving too, because your tribe is so important. We're trying to build a family right now with kids, and if you don't have the right tribe around you, it's really hard to do. So having the correct record label to help push you out, it really does help. And Phoenix Music is a really good record label. They even got Opeth there. That's a band you want to
Yeah.
connect with. So they already can see what worth you have, and I think that's just amazing.
You had mentioned that you're all going to go over to Anna's because there she has a whole venue there that you can all like basically let loose and let your creativity flow to write your music. Can you elaborate on the process your band takes when completing an album and being in different locations? And is it a regular thing to go and meet up at like Anna's or in different locations to inspire your writing process?
I mean, the last album, Hex, was written in a completely different way than the one that we're going to record this year. And
Cool.
I'm actually super excited with this one because it felt a bit more organic just by the fact that we were all in one place. And Hex was mostly written all like separate. Mish, you came to see me, and then you went to see Hannah and Gary, and you were kind of the one, person moving from one person to the other, But as a band, we never actually sat down and wrote this thing together. It was all remote,
Wow.
up until the recording process, even, right? And we had some ideas that we sent back and forth initially, but then when we met and sat down and actually decided, all right, let's just spend a week of just jamming these songs and finishing the form, it felt completely different than Hex, in my opinion. It felt very, very organic.
Amazing.
And as you said, it's going to be more ridiculous also. It's just we're definitely encouraging each other to be weird on this one, I feel.
I think it has just
Amazing.
happened so much faster as well. That was the main thing that I found about working together was like, oh my God, this is just so much easier than sending ideas backwards and forwards. Like
No
Hex took a
kidding.
really
Yeah.
long time and we were working one song at a time and releasing one song at a time until we got the record deal. And then it was like, shit, we got to finish the album. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just being together in the same room, I wasn't sure how it was gonna work. I was like, okay, we'll see what we get done and we'll see, maybe we'll get, I mean, we aimed to like finish like 3 or 4 songs, I think. We were like, we'll see if we can do that. And we bashed through the whole album like in record time. I was
Wow.
absolutely blown away. And it wasn't like it didn't feel hurried at the same time. It just felt like all the ideas were just there and they were just coming out. And that's a real great thing for us. And I think we'll do that from now on. We'll definitely just make sure that we book a week, all go to the same
Yeah.
place and work together because the flow was just absolutely unreal when one person was like, okay, I'm not so done with this, and the next person would step up and be like, how about this? And then it just
Right.
worked so well. And it was also just really fun. We were just laughing all the time. So
Yeah. It
Amazing.
Build
was
your chemistry together. And we know many bands like Nightwish and Epica just did a band thing where they came together to get their album out like you
Mhm.
guys just suggested. And I really think that's what brings out some of the best work is when you're all together making it organically opposed to almost an
Mhm.
algorithm type of way having to send pieces here and over there. It's way more organic the way that you guys went into this album. And I don't know if you have like an album title or anything like that for the next one, but it
yeah, we
sounds
do.
very cool. If you do, okay, wow. I don't know if you can say it at all.
But I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. So
All right. At least you got it.
But you got it.
I don't want to get in trouble.
I have one more question just about how you do your album process and things like that. Individually, what induces the most creativity? Like, do you go for walks outside in the woods, or where do you find your creativity is at its highest peak?
For me, it's definitely nature in general. And I've left London, so I lived in London for like 14, 15 years, and now I'm back in the middle of nowhere in Belgium,
I love
which
that.
explains why my connection is not good. But and but also then I can be way more in touch with nature and go for walks, as you said, and that just inspires me a lot. Then if I go behind my drum kit and I just practice for a good 2, 3 hours, you get into this kind of meditative state, and this
Mhm.
is where I have the best ideas. So sometimes actually being on my own and just kind of figuring things out, completely like in the zone for 2, 3 hours, and then it's really like meditation.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that as
Yes.
well. I just need to sit in a room with my piano and
Right.
just play around. And then after playing whatever stuff for like 5, 10 minutes. And then usually after the first 10 minutes, something starts to happen, nice chord progression or something. I just record loads of little phone memos. But yeah, being outside as well is fantastic. In Brighton, we're right next to the sea, so a walk on
Nice.
the front
Beautiful.
is brilliant. And then if you go north, you're right in the Downs, so we have like forests and sea. I'm so lucky to live in a place like that. So yeah, I really love being out in nature as well. It's just yeah, it gives you all the best ideas when you're out on a walk, I think. Don't you
Yeah.
agree, Anne?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And one more question on onto that. Has any of your songs started with a drum sequence or a string instrument opposed to the piano or guitar that normally starts your songs?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Anna like had all these grooves. I think there was one in 17/8 that she brought, and then Gary was like, okay, I'll write a riff over that. So we always start with different pieces. Maybe on Hex, everything was written a bit more structured from my end and then passed to the band. But definitely with this next record, I said to everyone, like I want everybody to have two song ideas and then we bring them all
Cool.
together.
Mhm.
So Anna had quite a lot of really cool grooves, and then Gary was just riffing to that. I
Nice.
had a bunch of chord stuff and some vocal melodies, and then Hannah's written this really dirgy, kind of really long, epic song that's
Oh,
got this beautiful cello riff that's just it's very Heilung, I think that one on the album. It's long and dirgy and kind of,
I'm
uh
excited for
Dirge.
it.
I like that word.
so yeah, it does come from all angles. Gary has like so many riffs. He's always just like putting them in Guitar Pro and saving them, and then I'll come along with some stuff and have a look at what he's got, and then we just sort of piece them all together. It
Cool.
was really great doing that in the space in Belgium. We were like, what's coming next, and we piece another bit together and make sure that it worked, and then you just get these really epic kind of prog songs. I mean, the prog is Anna's fault, like definitely.
Thanks,
We had
Anna.
this,
Sorry, not
yeah, no, it's
sorry.
great. I'm
Don't
not
be sorry.
sorry. Like I encouraged, but yeah, in the middle of the song she'll be like, I think I want to do like a little breakdown in 17/8, and you're like, okay, here we go.
No.
Yeah. Next thing, the
I did
song
it
is 9
again.
minutes long,
I
and you're
did it
like, oh,
again.
Love that.
yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I see the time here. We're getting close to the hour mark, so I wanted to get a couple things in so that we can know how to support you guys extra. You can support you guys via Patreon. I know through you, Mishkin. I don't know if through the band, can you?
We don't have a Patreon for the band really. Because we're sort of signed to a major label,
True,
that
true.
complicates things like that. So the Patreon is very much for me and my work. I play in a bunch of other projects and I'm also a music
Yes.
teacher. So my patrons, yes, there's a little bit of like behind the scenes Crimson Veil, but mostly it's my personal one. And I don't know if Anna, do you still have your teaching Patreon as well? Yeah, for drums.
Yes, yeah, it's both
Cool.
teaching and behind the scenes and all things like that. So I've got my own personal Patreon too.
Well, we'll
Perfect.
definitely put both of those up so you guys can get support that way. Michigan, you said you have a music academy as well, which is really, really cool. We love how many music academies are in Europe, and you're just fostering so much good talent. So keep on doing that because, as you said, someone helped you become a good growler and screamer too. So you know the power in that teaching. You also mentioned the Velveteen Orchestra is the two-headed monster tour that you are doing, but you have one more show left. So definitely,
No, it's finished actually.
is
The
it?
last show about me, yeah, because I'm actually playing in Hannah's band, Hannah Piranha, on
Okay,
another.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah,
Well
so there's a
then
lot
fair
going on.
enough. Then you also have a new EP that came out called Goddess by Heveris. How do you say that?
Eris, Eris.
Harris,
Yeah,
Eris.
and that's
it's
just
Eris, so
you
we just
and
put a V in it. Yeah.
okay, and that's just you and Hannah, right?
Yeah, so Gary wrote some of the chord progressions for that as well, and then there's another guy who helps us out with beats, who's another project called Third Bloom. And but yeah, it's mostly just me and Hannah. Like we got really bored in the pandemic and made like another six projects or something. Too
But
much stuff.
that's
Yeah,
really cool because the proceeds are going to help towards your new album, right?
that's right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's another way to help with the new album, which there is a name and we don't know yet, but we're very excited for. And is there anything that we have not brought up that you want to make sure to bring up for the fans?
For me, just come out and see us on tour. Come to the headline shows that we're doing. That's our first headline shows ever. And
Cool.
so if you're in Europe and you're around to see us, that would be fantastic. And obviously, just follow us on social media and support us and send the music videos to everyone you know. I think that's the most powerful thing that we have is our music videos are pretty.
Very
It's usually the way
powerful.
to find us and a good form. So that would be what I would say. Anna, is there anything you can think
Uh,
of?
ba Bandcamp as well is another way of supporting us, I guess. You can
Yeah.
get our merch there. If if you don't not in Europe and you can't make it to the shows, then you can get some of the merch on Bandcamp as well, I guess, internationally. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but yeah. So that's another way of supporting us.
Awesome. And
Perfect.
we definitely want to support you. And I have one more question left before we wrap this up. And I think it's a very important question. Has social media killed the artist?
I'm going to let Anna answer that. She's a master.
I actually just made like a YouTube video on that. One of my first YouTube video in which I talk, which is not something I usually do, but I felt like speaking out because it is definitely killing the creators and therefore the artists who are forced to become creators, which is a first problem.
Ooh, okay.
But then it's the one problem that you can look at, and it's not necessarily just all negative. But then now, because of the algorithm, they are, in my opinion, enslaving creators to serve an algorithm instead of creating art.
Yes.
And it's becoming more and more like trickier and trickier, I would say, for artists to use social media now for their self-promotion. But I don't think it has killed it quite yet. And I'm not sure I'm not sure you can actually destroy art. You can try. You can
They've
try really
tried
hard,
for
but
thousands of
art will
years, it
always
won't
have.
stop.
Exactly. Yeah, art is something that we all need deep inside. There's something you can't kill it. So you can try to replace it with entertainment. And this is
Hmm.
what's happening in so many platforms.
Yes.
And art, people are not educated anymore to know the difference between art and entertainment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think deep down, when you really just look at something and you know it's beautiful, or you listen to something and you know it's beautiful and you don't know why you love it and you don't know why you hate it, then there is something there, and people just need to get more in touch with it. And it's not necessarily social media that's gonna save it, but I hope he's not gonna destroy it.
Well, I can tell you Crimson Veil has made art and it doesn't feel like propaganda. It doesn't feel fake. Sometimes you can't explain why it feels so real because of the weirdness and the eeriness you sometimes feel from the music, but that's the thing we love the best about it.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Mishkin and Anna, for coming onto Storytime with E.T.C. We had an amazing time. We learned a bunch of new things from you, and we hope you guys had a good time as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had
thank
a
you
great
very
time.
much.
Thank you so much. This has been a really great chat. Thank you for having us.
Can you hear our kids in the background?
No,
Just
Zoom must be getting that noise.
That's good. We're just
That's
checking.
great. We can our 6-month-old is like going off because he just found his voice, and we're like, I wonder if the mic can pick that up.
Oh,
That's great. He's going to be a metal singer. It's cool.
Yeah,
Oh, he already is.
we're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
create our own band, so.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Amazing.
So we really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a good night because I'm sure it's a
Mhm.
bit later.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you so much for having
indeed.
us. That was lovely. I'm sure we'll chat to you again soon. Hopefully see you in Canada on tour at some point. That'd be amazing.
that would be amazing. I would definitely be there because I love your guys' music. It's great.
We're also coming to
Thank
Europe in
you.
September, so if you are doing anything in September time, it would be really great to try to catch up even.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
only
definitely. Let us know. Yeah,
yeah, we
let us
might
know
be
the
on tour
date.
again. Yeah, because I think we're going to try and tour later in the year. I just know I'm playing a mushroom festival with my accordion band.
I love that.
Cool.
You have an accordion band as well. That's amazing.
We need to do an interview of just all the random things you're doing on the side.
Yeah, no, it's too much, really. Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys both take care. Thank you so much. It's been lovely.
Thank
Yeah.
you very
Come on.
much, guys.
Take care, guys. Bye for now.
Have a lovely
Bye.
weekend.
Bye.